We've gone through the production process up to the paper cut stage. Now, let's talk a little about the equipment and the expertise required to edit, and some ideas to help you go on to edit your own demo promos.
Hit it!
So far, the scene selection and writing part should have cost you virtually nothing to learn and get good at, as opposed to editing, which has the potential to get very expensive indeed. How do you teach yourself to edit? Well, firstly, the question itself is a little ambiguous because there are actually two parts to the job. One, learning the equipment and the software makes you an operator. Two, learning what to do with raw footage to turn it into a story makes you an editor. There is a huge difference between these two job titles. Now, it's way beyond the scope of this little presentation to actually teach you how to become an operator. There are any number of editing software packages out there for any number of computing platforms, all of which besides already have great tutorial materials available. Editing operation is a tricky, technical, time-consuming thing to pick up, and depending on your aptitude for such things, learning how to do it will either be like going on a long and challenging hike, or something like trying to scale Mount Everest in a blizzard, in your underwear. As I said earlier, there was a time when editing equipment cost millions of dollars and was operated by specialist technicians. You could get a job as a promo producer based on your ability to actually sell programming as opposed to your ability to chop it up into 8-frame increments. There was even a time when you could expect a TV channel to give you all the necessary on-the-job training in editing operation. Well, okay. That still happens. But these days, pro editing software is within the reach of enough people that employers are getting accustomed to job candidates who have already trained themselves in editing operation. What was previously an advantage is fast becoming the new normal. There has been and continues to be a lot of change in pro editing systems. It's pretty hard to know which one you should get involved with, but somewhere along the line you're going to have to make a decision. Now, I'll keep the latest updates and my recommendations on the text part of the page accompanying this video. If you have a company or companies that you'd like to work at one day, do yourself a favour and simply ring them up, ask to be put through to the promo department, and ask them which editing software they use. Now, this should pretty much make the decision for you, but keep in mind editing platforms are a rapidly changing playing field and different channels use different systems. Okay, before we get on to the actual editing, there's another hurdle to jump. What you'll need to do next is start turning your original paper cuts into actual promo bases. Now, sure, you can use home movies or similar to learn the basics of editing operation, but you'll want to, as quickly as possible, flip over to working on whole movies or TV shows. Perhaps the hardest thing about editing at home is getting your hands on media that you can actually edit with. I mean, when you work at a TV channel, all the media you need's right there on the servers. I mean, you simply drag it into the software and start cutting. Doing this at home can be quite the challenge, again, depending on your existing expertise and equipment. There are a number of ways you can capture media, all of which involve varying degrees of illegality. Now, if you don't have a geeky friend who can also help you out here, probably the easiest, cheapest, best quality option is to buy a TV tuner for your computer and record directly to your computer's hard drive. Okay, teaching yourself editing basics and then getting actual editable media into your computer could represent quite a significant expenditure in time and money, I realise. But let's say for now you've ticked those boxes and you're ready to move on. What next? The teach yourself editing process here is quite similar to the paper cut process. This time you need to capture both the promos and the whole promoted show into your computer. Previously we did the exercise of watching an entire TV show or movie, going through the process known as logging, which is jotting down the key moments and then going on to create a paper cut version of a promo. In this exercise, the idea is to simply study the promo and then watch the program and log the parts that were used in the promo. Because you now have your media captured in your computer, there's a quicker and easier way to log the show. Editing software will allow you to put markers on the recorded video files so you can easily go back at a later time and locate the selected parts of the show that have grabbed your attention.
Do you like Baileys? Creamy.
You can usually jot down text with these markers, giving them a short name, and the software will usually provide a window that lists the markers and your notes for you to copy and paste into your word processor. This, by the way, is how many promo producers do their logging these days. Now back to you. The idea here is to recreate the recorded promo, copying it as closely as you can using the recorded program footage. So let's start with the promo. Here's another one for How I Met Your Mother that I recorded.
CBS Monday.
Not a word of this to anyone.
A night of secret passion could lead to a lifetime of pain.
I'm pregnant.
Are you sure you're not just getting fat? So, you're pregnant. Looks like nobody told your boobs.
On new How I Met Your Mother, Monday at 8, 7 Central.
And as well as that, you can see I've also recorded the entire promoted episode. So I simply find the scenes from the show that were used in the promo, and I recut the promo base using the recorded program footage. Eventually what we get is a completed promo bed or base.
Not a word of this to anyone. I'm pregnant.
Are you sure you're not just getting fat? So, you're pregnant. Looks like nobody told your boobs.
Okay, there are three things you'll notice that the original promo has that are missing from our promo base.
I'm pregnant.
One,
Are you sure you're not
voiceover.
just getting fat?
Two, graphics.
So, you're pregnant. Looks like nobody told your boobs.
And three, music.
How I Met Your Mother, Monday at 8, 7 Central.
Now, you're not necessarily going to be able to recreate the voiceover artist or the channel's graphics, but that doesn't really matter so much, given they're not the jobs you're going for. If you can get any half-decent microphone plugged into your computer, you can always record yourself doing the voiceover, and that's always a bit of fun. Or maybe you know somebody with actor or radio ambitions who will voice your promos for you. As for graphics, you could either cut in the graphics from the actual promo, or maybe you could try and recreate them yourself. You'd be surprised what you can do with just a basic text tool and a couple of transitions. And finally, the music. Promos mostly use what is called production music, which is especially composed and recorded for the entertainment industry. Google production music and you'll find some of them will let you preview their libraries. Prepare to be overwhelmed with options. Perhaps the cheapest and easiest thing to do is to search for production music or royalty-free music in the iTunes Music Store and download the closest matching track you can find, and it'll only cost you a couple of bucks. And when you've got all that down, you should have a promo base that comes pretty darn close to the original. Channel X, Monday.
Not a word of this to anyone.
A night of secret passion could lead to a lifetime of pain.
I'm pregnant.
Are you sure you're not just getting fat? So, you're pregnant. Looks like nobody told your boobs.
A new How I Met Your Mother, Monday at 7 on X. Now, you should only have to do this a couple of times, I guess, to pick up a feel for the pace and concision of promo editing. You'll also start to get an appreciation for some of the tricks promo producers play, like combining unrelated parts of a program together to create a super shortened version of the story that hopefully hooks in the viewers.
You have to watch The Matrix.
How?
Turn on your television.
Now, I just want to back up a little here. In the previous video, I talked about categorizing and collecting scripted angles from effective promos that you see on TV. In case you haven't picked this up for yourself already, this general idea also applies to teaching yourself editing. In the paper cut exercise earlier, you studied your selected promos and noted what you heard and saw into separate columns. What I call transitions here in the vision column of the paper cut are things you should also categorize and collect. These being the literally hundreds of techniques and effects that promo editors use to jump from one scene to another or to give their promo more impact. You'll find 95% of these effects ready and waiting to be used in your pro editing software. When you apply the paper cut technique to editing, you'll quickly start to become familiar with all these effects and know when to use them. And you'll also start to see how overused some of them can be. As I said earlier, the ultimate goal here is to start making your own promos from your own original paper cuts, just as if you were working in a real TV promo department. Watch a show, write a script, edit a base. Now, you should still try and make your promos as close to the style of the target channel's promos as you can. That's how you'll get a job at the channel. By now, you will have a fairly decent idea of what they want, and you should be able to make some respectable spots using your own ideas, words, and your own editing.
Ever considered the possibility that people really are out to get you?
There's 500 people out there.
What you need is some time out.
You better get out of here.
Okay, well, we'll see you in a couple of days.
Better make it a week.
But be careful what you fish for.
Who are you?
I'm out, Greg.
You just might catch it.
I got something to show you. You know what that is? I got a mangina!
Your weekly dose of weird is coming at you.
You like Baileys? Creamy.
The Mighty Boosh, 8:30 Friday on X.
And of course, you'll want to produce a wide a range of promos as you can, taking into account all the types of promos that exist and the fact that a potential employer will want to see how versatile you can be. So yeah, you need to build up a portfolio of demo promos. And the very last part of the process is to get your promos seen. These days, video hosting sites like YouTube and Vimeo make sharing your promos comparatively easy. Once you have built up a portfolio, you can get it seen by a potential employer by simply emailing them a link to your channel. This is yet another rapidly developing new normal for promo hopefuls. One thing you should do is email PDFs of your paper cuts too. That will show that you really know your stuff and have gone the extra mile. Now, one potentially great aspect about posting your promo demos online is that you'll quickly discover there are whole fan communities for any given show who will watch and, if you wish, comment on your work. Do watch out for the trolls though. Now, there are some people who have come to the attention of TV channels simply because their fan promos were so awesome and were being watched by significant amounts of viewers. And yes, some of those fans are now working promo producers. Well, that's about all there is. If you've enjoyed and hopefully learnt from this video, please leave a comment, but no trolly ones, thanks. You can do me a big favour and give me some social media sharing, that'd be great. I do a whole bunch of professional on-site training, so who knows, I might see you at a channel or a conference one day. If so, make sure you come up and introduce yourself. You owe me a beer. Bye for now.